name is Judie VanKooiman. I am the nonprofit liaison for the Revere Chamber. This is the first episode of Nonprofits, and my guest is Debbie Keegan, and she is the executive director for Kids Only Afterschool. Welcome, Deb.
Thank you, Judy. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Thank you. You too. And what is your professional background?
Well, I am a child of the 70s, and in the early 70s, I went to college to study to be a teacher, and I graduated with a degree and certification as an elementary school teacher and also as a special education teacher. And then later on, I went and got my master's and my certification to be an elementary school principal. I also taught in both the private and the public sector in elementary ed and special ed classrooms. And I started one of the first alternative high schools in Massachusetts as its director, which I'm very proud of. And then I also, through the years, I worked for the Commissioner of the Department of Education. I was his research associate in curriculum and instruction at the time. And then in the early 80s, I actually was commuting from my hometown in Winthrop at the time to Quincy, Mass, to the department when I heard that I was pregnant with my firstborn-to-be. And I recognized at that time that it was going to be very difficult for me to do the commute. And I started questioning what was going to happen with my son when he needed childcare. And I noticed that there wasn't any childcare once a child hit the age of 5. It seemed like between birth and 5, there were preschool programs here and there. But at 5 years old, there were no after-school programs. And so I just thought about that. And I also, when I was a teacher, I recognized that there were a lot of children that were going home to empty houses. We called them latchkey children in the 70s because they would wear keys on their neck. So I said, I just thought, there's a need here for myself, and also I saw it as a public need at large. So in collaboration with my sister at the time, who was a teacher as well, we co-founded For Kids Only Afterschool in 1984. And since that time, I've been the executive director, and I still love my job today as passionately as I did in the early 80s.
Great. Yeah. And how old is FKO?
We are completing our 40th year this year.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thank
awesome.
you.
I know you had a big fundraiser last fall, and it was cool to attend.
Yeah, thank you. We finally brought it back after COVID.
Yeah.
We took a little pause during that time, like everybody else, having large groups together. But yeah, we had a successful event. Thank you for coming.
Oh, our
and
pleasure.
Supporting.
My whole board loved attending and stuff.
Thank you.
So.
Thank you.
Yeah. So why did you want to start it? You had said because of the...
Yeah, like I said, there was an urging need in the communities that I recognized as an educator, because I didn't just work here locally, I also worked in other communities in Central Mass and in Quincy, as I said, and there were so many children just being left alone on the streets after school. And we had a public safety issue going on at the time with crime. Research was showing that crime was happening by children between the hours of 3 and 6 p.m. But most of all, what really impacted me was crime was happening to children, mostly between those hours of 3 and 6. It wasn't at dark time like we thought. It was those critical hours when school got out and the parents were at work. And then also in the early 80s, women were entering the workforce and that was becoming a need that families had to have two parents working. And so I just said, there's these critical hours that are not being met for the child, and to have an after-school program that would not just keep them safe but also help learning to continue, I just felt like would really matter in the lives of children and working families. So, yeah. And
this is a family business.
Well, it's a public charity. It's a 501c3, and I have a board of directors who govern the organization. However, my family has been from roots on. I think naturally they've just been raised in after school, And the three of them all are very successful in their own, they were in their own career identities, and now they're all with me, working with me and others with this nonprofit, which is really helpful. Yeah.
Yes. And how many sites do you have?
So we've really grown since we started with 5 children. We presently have 12 sites, and we operate in 5 communities, Revere being one of them. So we're also in the communities of Chelsea, Everett, Winthrop, and Peabody. We serve between school year and summer over 1,600 children. Yeah, there's a lot.
Easy.
I know. School-age children between the ages of 5 and 13.
Okay. And FKO has grown over the years, like we just said. And so as your programs, please tell us more about your programs.
About our programs,
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah.
So we have, like I said, we serve children every day during the out-of-school time hours. So when school's not in session, we open our doors. So we're open until 5:30 every day, Monday through Friday. And then we also open on school vacation weeks, in the summertime, and most days when schools are not in session. We close primarily for the major holidays, 16 holidays, but other than that, in some professional development days, we keep our doors open to support the working families. And every day, children come to us. They either arrive to us by bus in the communities where we have community-based sites, either owned by FKO or rented sites, or they stay in their school buildings where we partner in the school buildings themselves. So the children arrive after school where they are greeted by out-of-school time educators, and they have an after-school healthy snack. We work very closely with the Department of Education in their snack program, and we also help the children with some learning activities that bring learning alive for them, with some of the things that they're learning in school. So we have enrichment classes that the children elect to participate in, and that's really based on their own interest, right? And we help them with homework where they need homework, although we don't pledge at all to be academic. We leave that to the school day educators. They're the experts in that arena. We find our space is more about social and emotional learning, and so that's what we focus primarily on.
Okay, great. And also your staff has grown too. How many do you have, and can you give us some of their titles?
Yeah, so we have, I had to look at my numbers here, we have presently 182 employees, and 62 of those employees are full-time, and the remainder are part-time. So in Revere, specifically, our community-based site on Broadway is licensed. By the way, all of our programs are licensed by the Mass Department of Early Education and Care. And this is a very strict, Massachusetts has the highest licensing standards in the country, which I'm very proud of, and very proud to work for the department. So in Revere, we're licensed, and that licensing depends on your square footage and the number of staff you have, their credentials, etc. We have a license to serve 120 children every day, and we are at capacity. We do have some openings that we keep for our children that might need us immediately for whatever reason. And so we have a number of staff. So our core staff consist of, we have family enrollment specialists that help families access funding that cannot afford the private rate of care. We have a director of curriculum and development. We have a marketing development team that helps us do our outreach efforts to the community. You know Nikki.
Of course. I love Nikki.
Thank you. We have a director of child and family services and a whole social work team. We call them behavioral health coordinators now, that they help support the staff that are working with the children every day. And then every one of our programs, Revere included, has a full-time site director that comes to work every day at 10 a.m. and works until 6 p.m. So it's a full career opportunity for those that want full-time work. And this year I'm really excited because not only do we have like the director, an assistant director, we have, our behavioral health coordinators in the programs, inclusion specialists, one-on-ones where children need that in order to be fully mainstreamed. We also are the first in the country to put forth an out-of-school time apprenticeship program. So it's an apprenticeship certification acknowledged and funded by the Department of Workforce and Labor, where we have full-time, out-of-school time teachers now that come to work in the morning at 10 a.m. and they have technical instruction that they learn via Zoom classes to have to get this credential. It's a 2-year-long credential.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's
Good for them.
exciting.
And what is your mission statement?
Oh, our mission statement. Our mission statement is to really bring communities, families together to really elevate and prioritize the out-of-school time hours of children to make sure that the needs of the child and the families are fully embraced. And as I said before, we feel very strongly that those out-of-school time hours are critical hours to the growing needs of a child and the working family, of course. Yeah.
Of course. And what are the core values?
So our core values, we believe very strongly in bringing them to reality every day for every child. And they all start with practicing kindness. I know it's one of your favorite words.
Yep.
And a deep respect for others. So we foster collaboration really to build trust and to acknowledge and appreciate the differences in all of us. And we really celebrate every child. Every child is welcome in our program. We don't ask questions. Every child is welcome and every child is valued. And we really want children to feel that way and for the family to feel that way. So all of our values are really built into everything we do in our programs. We hope when you walk into our programs, you feel that. You see it on the wall. You'll see the bulletin boards that the children create. The projects that they do are all about that. And the last thing that we do is really teach children how to give back. We really believe that it's not just in giving to us, it's also giving back into the community and bringing that out to the world.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
And this is one of my favorite sayings. And what do you mean when you say, what's your heart print?
Oh, the heart print,
Yes.
As you know, the heart print is our logo. And within the heart print, if you ever see our logo, it also has lines that really show our journey in life. And we do this because we want to teach the children that the heart print is something that you can't see, like a footprint, but you can feel it, right? And our heart prints all have marks to them, and those marks are very special. Each one of us have a unique heart print, and we have an opportunity to leave our heart print on others, and that's through our acts of kindness and giving and doing and being and embracing each other and showing love for each other and for our earth. And so so that's what the heart print stands for.
Yes. And what is social and emotional learning?
So social and emotional learning is a way to bring in what we feel are the soft skills, they call them, in that it's teaching children how to be more respectful, collaborative, understanding. We're teaching conflict resolution skills, all of the skills that you need, leadership skills, all of the skills that you need in order to be in this world today. And we really believe, yes, it's critically important that children have the skills to read and to count and do math, etc., and have those technology skills they need right now to be leaders in this world. But we feel like the other skills, those soft skills, that often there isn't enough time to impress upon in the other hours of the day. Those soft skills, we have an opportunity during the out-of-school time hours to really teach those to children through the opportunities that we offer. The good thing about being in after school is that you don't have to test out. You don't have to pass the school test, or you don't have to be the best in something, that we all can, add a valuable part to what we're doing and being. Yeah.
And what is the daily schedule? the kids?
So the daily schedules, the children arrive from school, they have an after-school snack, they engage in enrichment classes that they would choose to participate in. It could be a class in science or the arts or physical activity, because we have a huge gym in Revere, or it could be outdoor, some sort of outdoor gardening, or there's so many different opportunities that we offer them. They're 10-week enrichment classes typically, and the teachers themselves, the after-school educators, they will kind of figure out with the children, like, what is it that you want to do, and what's the season feel like for you, and then they will design these courses that the kids can take. So, and then they have also time for fresh air, outdoor play. We think that's critically important, right? And then just some downtime. We give them time to chill. We'd like it to be the least pressured environment that they can have. And we feel like opportunities to develop friendships are so important for the school-age child, right? Will allow them to be with their peers and have fun, you know.
Okay, great. And what is interest centers?
So the interest centers that we have are specialized areas that children can select to go to, where they can do something that's of particular interest to them. So they're more designed. So we have, like, for example, a science center, perhaps, that would be set up in the room, and the kids that enjoy science could go there. So everything is designed around, like, the interest of the child. They're very, like, child-led activities and not led from the top down, because we don't know necessarily what brings joy to a child, but the children will definitely tell you, right, what they like and what they don't like. And we might think that, you know, I don't know, football is the sport of choice, and it could be soccer, you know. So that's what we'll do, is if the children want to play soccer, we'll design those activities around their interest.
Okay. And can people volunteer at FKO?
Yes, we love volunteers. So there's, even on our website, there's a very simple place that you can put in your application, so to speak, to be a volunteer. We do background check, of course. That has to be first and foremost, to make sure that those volunteers that are entering our program are safe for the children. But we have, like, a lot of volunteers that will bring their special interests. So somebody might enjoy, like, knitting, or I have somebody right now that's doing a painting class because she loves to paint. And it all depends. We have, like, martial arts have come in the past. So it's like different people can offer different things. People that want to just do a one-on-one with a child, helping them with their reading skills, that kind of thing. So cool. we always embrace volunteers.
Yes, that's important. Is there any fundraisers coming up after your big one last fall?
Yeah, we're doing small fundraisers right now to enhance the summer experience for children, because the funding that we receive primarily from state government for a lot of our kids, they receive subsidies to help pay for their childcare, isn't enough to also pay for those add-on experiences. And we'd like the children to be able to go on field trips, for example. We aim for 2 field trips a week in the summertime, and we also bring in a lot of, like, entertainers and the party fun and things like that. So that costs money, of course. So we're doing all these little fundraisers in our communities, led by our directors right now. And we are planning some sort of a 40th year celebration. We're not sure what that's going to look like. That'll be in the fall. But we definitely know we want to celebrate 40.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So, Deb, can you give us your contact info? Anyone has any questions?
Yeah, so my name is Debbie Kneeland. Some people know me as Debbie Kneeland Keegan, and the website is fkoafterschool.org, which is probably the best way to reach any of us there. And then just for you to know as well, that we're very fortunate right now that for Kids Only After School just secured a few grants. One is a homeless grant, whereas any child that's homeless can come to us. We have been given 50 seats in our programs to allow children to come immediately, free of cost, everything included, and we work very closely with their social workers or their family resource contacts. So that's one place that we're very proud that we are supporting homeless families right now. If anybody is interested or know of anybody that's homeless, we can help them navigate that system. We also have multiple language outreach specialists now that can work with families that speak different languages. Secondly, we did get another contract which allows us to provide care for children that might be deemed at risk in any way. So children that might be like transitioning from families, or maybe have families that are in substance recovery, or families that might be in the military, families that foster children, children being raised by grandparents, and that's a contract that we have that allows those children to come free of charge, which is really helpful. And then finally, we have a contract that allows for low-income working families to come with a subsidy from the government, and they pay according to their income. And we have individual support specialists that will work one-on-one with that family to help them figure it out, so they don't have to do it on their own, because you know how involved funding can be, you know, just navigating all the paperwork. And we also want families not to be afraid. We recognize what's going on out in the world right now and how hot it is, and we just want families to know that when they give us, when they talk with us, it's safe with us, and we don't hold any judgment, and that every child, every family is welcome, and that everything remains in confidence, and we will stand by our families no matter what.
That's good.
Yeah.
Good. And why is nonprofits important?
Well, I think for me it was important because it allows us to really elevate social issues that often get put on the wayside because we're all so busy, right, and everything else we're doing. And I think it allows us to like advocate for those issues that are important, and build public will to those issues, and build public trust. And like in childcare, for example, like childcare still isn't seen as a right. It's for families. It's seen as a privilege. And every working family should have support to pay for care for their kids, because otherwise our economy is going to tank, let's face it, and children are not going to be safe. So it allows us to really, like, I find like nonprofits, they're mission driven, of course, and our books are always open, and we're audited, and we have a very strong board that has oversight to that, as you know, running a nonprofit yourself. So I think, you know, that's what really matters. It's very much aligned to like values that we feel are important.
Okay. And what would you like to see for nonprofits for the future?
So I think for the future, oh boy, a lot. We need more attention to local, state, and federal funding for our issues, I think. And that takes advocacy, right? That takes building collective will. That takes working collaboratively. I think that's another thing about nonprofits. I feel like we haven't come together ourselves to have that collective voice, and it's really important because we can help each other, right, through collaboration. And so, like, for me to be able to work with my food providers or shelter providers or providers in healthcare to help our kids make sure that they're vaccinated, for example, like, that's really, really important to have those conversations and not to duplicate efforts. And sometimes you find like another nonprofit is doing such amazing work that really can help yours nonprofit, right? And alleviate some of the financial burdens that you have. So yeah, so I think you know, most importantly, I think right now we have to really value the work of the nonprofit sector. And I think that requires, I think in Massachusetts we're very lucky because I think our legislature gets it. I think we as nonprofit providers have to do more in terms of, like I say, getting up to the hill and really talking about. And here in Revere too, I have to say, I feel very fortunate because we've had great mayors, and the mayor now has just been like really helpful to us. We were brought on by Tom Ambrosino, who was a champion. I'm talking a champion, and Carol Ty at the time as superintendent. And those folks led the charge, you know what I mean? They believed in the value of after-school programs, and they would be up with me speaking to our legislators and making sure that the city didn't have to like assume the burden, and that state dollars would be there to support the families. And finally, of course, our governor, she's been unbelievable too, Governor Healy. Like, she secured Commonwealth Care dollars during COVID, and they still exist right now. These are federal dollars that all states got during COVID to help with child care providers, because we weren't able to survive during those times. Many providers had to close down. Right. So the federal government gave these dollars, and Massachusetts is the only state right now that has kept those dollars embedded in our state government budget. So, and it has mattered tremendously. That's why we've been able to do our apprenticeship program. That's why we have scholarships for kids, you know. So I think, you know, we're lucky in that respect. But yeah, so I don't know. I just, of course, I'm a nonprofit executive director, and I live it, so I love it. But, and I appreciate you too for what you do.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That means a lot to me.
Yeah, I do.
But I'm sorry, that's all the time that we have. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
And if anyone is interested in becoming a chamber member, if you have a nonprofit and you serve Revere, please check out reverechamber.org, and you can learn more about it. And if you have any questions about being a member, feel free to call the office and talk to Erica. She'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions. And once you become a member of the chamber, I'd love to invite you on my show. And also down the road, we're going to have a round table for nonprofits. So I think, you know, something different and all that. So think about it. And like I said, if you, even if you're based in another town and you serve Revere, you're part of us. All right. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and suggestions. Please send them to Judie, Judie, at twctin.org. And remember, live each day to the fullest and celebrate life.